Hello everyone, my name is Satish and I'm glad to welcome you all to an interesting panel discussion on Adverb, our journey and our solutions. Beer Singh. Beer is the Chief Growth Officer at Adverb and brings 2 decades of experience in project management, product development and designing warehouse automation solutions. Sangeet is the Global CEO of Adverb Technologies. He has more than 2 decades of experience in designing and deploying automation solutions across factories and warehouses. Prabhudev Dakshinmurthy. Prabhu is President Sales at Adverb Technologies and leads the sales for India and Australia market. Mark Messina. Mark is the CEO of Adverb Americas and brings extensive experience of scaling global organizations focused on robotics, automation, IoT, AI and ML. Ankur Yadav leads the key accounts vertical at Adverb and has more than a decade of experience in warehouse operations and has designed automation solutions for a host of companies across different sectors like pharma, fashion and lifestyle, grocery and e-commerce. In order for a warehouse automation project to be successful, it's not only the product but the way the entire solution is designed, right? So what is our approach? What is our typical approach to design an automation solution for customers?
Yeah, whenever we are posed with a request or a challenge, our first and foremost step is primarily we need to up our listening and observation skills when we visit the customer. So get to know what is bothering him, what is that he is facing today. Once we get to that understanding, then analyze the situation in multiple ways. It could be analytics, it could be observations, put them together, then agree with the customer, align with the customer.
We have termed it discovery phase.
Yeah, that's right, the discovery phase. Align with the.
So essentially in discovery, you listen to the customer, you understand his process, you visit his sites. Amazing.
We invest a lot of time in discovery phase. That is our key.
Then we go ahead and come out with various using various techniques that we produce, various techniques that we can integrate from outside that could be required, plus bringing in our software capabilities. We develop the solution. That is one part of it. The most important, especially in complex scenario, is brainstorm within where people have that experience, and then you can iron out all the inefficiencies. One is through simulation you can do that, but brainstorming can bring in a different perspective. So once we know what I won't say that it's 100% foolproof, but at least at 99.9% or 99.8% we are sure that this is the best solution, go and present it to the customer, and the chances for us to win the order is much better.
So what I hear from there is that we use a lot of simulation. So how does it actually work in designing the solution?
So what happens, like, when we study numbers, we do a lot of mathematical calculation, but sometimes, like, so we are using very good tools, very good softwares. So we actually simulate everything with customer data, and we try to find out most of the bottlenecks which can come after putting the solution. So this helps us in a lot of ways, like, so we are right first time in building our solution. We can optimize the time to deliver and optimize the cost also by doing so, and it gives customer confidence, right? So he is investing so much of money. If we are able to simulate it properly, it gives him confidence that it will work. So in this way it helps us a lot. And second thing, like, we are doing the same models for our virtual commissioning, so it helps us in that way also.
So what is virtual commissioning exactly?
Yeah, that Sangeet can tell. His favorite topic.
So virtual commissioning, what we do is we build the model, 3D model of the complete warehouse, which is a digital twin of the warehouse, where we build all the equipments, all the racks, all the mobile robots, ASRS, shuttles, etc., conveyors. And with people and their productivity, etc., we build the complete model. Then after building this physical model in a virtual 3D model in a virtual space, we build the complete software at controls level as well as warehouse control, warehouse management and fleet management level. And these softwares, then we test it at several what if situations, and we sit with the customer, we write together what are the what if situations. We actually run these all these what if conditions in front of the customer. We decide, okay, this is something which is happening, what should be the logical solution. Sometimes it is an automated solution, sometimes it is a manual intervention to handle that exception. And all these things we build up beforehand, before going to the site. Once we go to the site, this enables us to crash down our commissioning time. And whatever, it is not that we are able to solve everything, but we are able to visualize or understand 95% of what if situation. There are certain what if situations which we are not able to imagine, which we see at the actual warehouse happening, and that goes as a learning in our next model, next digital twin model. This digital twin we can keep on updating for the customer if the business changes and other what if situation comes in for the customer. So, it has helped us tremendously. It has also enables the customer to understand the whole warehouse before it goes live. It also helps the customer to think about several exceptions, because he is able to visualize, he is able to see what is going to happen in certain situations, in put away, in picking, in dispatch, etc. Also, this tool can be used for training for the new warehouse operators. So, it is a complete digital twin which we build, which helps us definitely in reducing, it helps the customer as well.
I think what's really interesting there is that it's an emulation tool, right? So you're emulating the controls, and when you go on site, you already have most of the logic already programmed, so that like you mentioned, you can shorten the deployment cycle. Another interesting point that I think customers will find very valuable is that we can inject failure modes into it. So every system will break under certain conditions, right? So we can show them what level of operation that they can hit, and they know their limits. They don't have to wonder. Well, you know, if you go back to fixed automation has to be designed perfectly, right? Flexible automation has some elasticity to it. So we can show how the system will behave with that elasticity built into it. Fixed automation, to go back to that, if you were to try to build in a buffer, let's say, because your operation now requires a buffer because you didn't plan it well, or the business changed. More often than not, it's the business has changed, especially in e-commerce. To go in and try to do that, it's major surgery, to the point that sometimes it just can't be done. It's either not cost effective or the system just can't accept it. But with the emulation tool, we can show by injecting various use cases where the system breaks, where it performs well, and that gives customers a lot of confidence. It's different than simulation. Emulation is very different than simulation.
Sangeet, just add a question to what we talked about, crunching the timelines. So when we go without doing these kind of virtual simulation, our experience is, depending on the complexity of the project, we need somewhere close to 12 to 16 weeks of time to completely install and test the systems.
A large system.
Large system. But when we do this, how does it benefit the customer and us in terms of
So, the electrical wiring still has to be completed, and then there has to be I/O testing which needs to, that time does not get crashed, but all the other time after the I/O testing, whatever time it takes, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that gets crashed to 2 weeks, 1 week, depending on how large and how complex system is there. And that is what gives us the most. The other thing is customer understands, as Mark was saying, customer understands various what if situations, various exceptions, various situations where the system will not be able to deliver the limits of the solution. And because he understands beforehand, he is able to plan something beforehand, and that is very, very important.
So, Prabhu, it's basically erection times remains more or less same, but the commissioning time, unit test times get reduced drastically.
And Kurt, I think one other thing that customers appreciate, and I think we talk about it from our side, which is we shorten the time, but the customer gains the operation of the facility. So it's 4 more weeks or 6 more weeks that they get to run the facility, which is ROI, right? They're not waiting for a competitor system where maybe they have to go 4 or 6 more weeks to do that debug and get the system optimized. That's operational. That's a return on their investment.
Yeah, because the ticker starts as soon as you take the warehouse, and if you are not operating it for say 3 months, 4 months, that money is still going to the landlord, right? So I'm talking from the customer side. Another thing which is great actually is I know when my warehouse will hit the ceiling. So I can plan 3 months, 4 months in advance whether I need a new warehouse. Because like Mark said, business is rapidly changing, especially in e-commerce. So I cannot just sit for that moment when my warehouse is reaching the peak and then start looking for another warehouse. By that time, I would lose certain revenue, certain customers.
Yeah, with my experience in my experience at Amazon, when a building hit peak, Amazon knew well in advance, so they could do what was called a pop-up building, and they would just find a quick building, pop up, extra capacity just for that 1 or 2 months where they needed that capacity, and that gave them a lot of flexibility, and we're able to do that as well.
And Satish, I think at the end, after some time, everybody need to use it, because the way, so earlier where any automation solutions were quite simple, day by day it's becoming it's becoming complex like anything, and with this advanced tool you get a lot of freedom to design such a complex solution. So that is the another way we think about all these things.